she is in college now, and she carries a lot of that, training discipline that she got from, the martial arts school. Taking one step at a time for any difficulty, any challenges, any problem. The biggest change will be her self-composure, her self-control, and mental strength, mental toughness. Having that, never quit attitude. It's very important, and then now she's able to rechannel and regroup and say to herself that I have to continue. So that's what we've seen, a huge difference in her, that she's able to continue on and not quit. We thought she was being overconfident, with her ability to step in and try to bully the bully or try to de-escalate the situation, right? But what we needed was keep that confidence, but at the same time have the self-control, have the self-control, the composure.
So what would you say would be like the biggest change you've seen since starting in my program?
Yeah, the biggest change that I've seen is the having that self-control and composure. She is in college now, and she carries a lot of that, training discipline that she got from, the martial arts school. Taking one step at a time for any difficulty, any challenges, any problem. That number, that one number, it's always been the magic number. Take things one step at a time, one day at a time. And she got that from the martial arts, training with you, Master Jason. There was a conversation before that you said something about starting with one, and that really stuck in her mind, that kind of discipline. Start with one. Sometimes all you need is one chance, one shot, one opportunity. If you don't get it, keep trying. Get that one chance again. Keep trying. And I can't remember what exactly it was that she was having problems in the campus, but she mentioned that in the text. She was like, I remember this part where Master Jason said, just take it one step at a time, and I did that. And that's been really helpful, for her to continue to follow that.
And how did it work for her? Did she say that she got anything from it?
Yes, whether it be homework, project, thesis, essay, whatever. And she's in I think fashion business or marketing, and we ask her questions about how she's doing with her grades, with her studies, and she's just like, just really taking it one step at a time. She's really just making sure that she doesn't panic or spiral into what happened in why we put her in martial arts to begin with, because she was really she didn't have that self-control in the beginning. So
remind me, because she's how old now?
She just turned 2015, 21 a few weeks ago.
Good Lord. So
Time flies. Yeah.
So she's 21. Remind me, what age was it that you put Candice in my program?
It was 2015, so she was 10 years old.
She was 10. Wow.
11 years ago, yeah.
That's great. So now, can you touch a little bit more on what you say was the before version of Candice?
So the before version of Candice, so she has this kind of like aura or attitude, like it's often misread by students and even teachers, at school, in elementary and middle school. She has a very strong personality, and she didn't like bullies. And, in school, you can't avoid that, right? There's always going to be bullies. And every time, the bully doesn't even have to bully her. If she sees someone being bullied and that bully is right in front of her, she'll try to go in, and instead of, de-escalate and squashing it, she'll try to be the savior, the rescuer of the day. And she tries to be the protector. And then now the bullies, of course, they turn their attention to her, and then they'll attack her. So that's the part of we were trying to avoid her, growing up, putting herself in that situation. Try to avoid that. You can't always be the savior, the rescuer, and the protector. There's ways to do that. You can report that to the teacher, or tell me when you come home, tell me, and then we'll deal with it. With the school staff. But of course, she's a little. She doesn't always listen. She won't always absorb that. And so yeah, but that was really the earlier version of Candice. She doesn't like bullies, and she'll try to step in and save the day, so to speak.
Do I remember that you sat down with me? You talked about a little bit of like bullying going on. Was there some bullying going on?
That was kind of the turning point of why we needed her to, and we need to enroll her into a martial arts school. To me, growing up, I've always wanted to do martial arts, right? I've self-studied back home in the Philippines. We didn't have a lot of money. So we did everything like whatever we can find, tools like here and there, me and my neighbors, my friends will do martial arts stuff. Whatever we watch on TV, we'll try to mimic, mirror it. But I already saw right then and there's something about martial arts that can help anyone with discipline and having that mental toughness and strength. And I thought Candice needed that. But different type of martial arts that she can do. I'm looking for self-control, structure, but I need her good. I need a situation where she can actually feel real life situation where, hey, like what happened in school, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I needed something that is more in a situation that's safe for her to practice that and see how she can channel that energy, that thought, in a more safer way, right?
Yeah.
So when we first talked, when we stood there, we watched you teach those kids, for a few minutes, and I'm like, yeah, this is it, because the kids were rolling on the mat, they're sparring, and I'm like, that's exactly what Candice needs, because she's already doing, when she encounters this situation in school, she needs that type of situation in a more controlled space, like in the gym.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that bullying part was again another situation where the boy was just messing around with everyone in PE class, like shoot everyone, it's a soccer game, right? Everyone
Mm-hmm.
wants a piece of the ball, they want to learn how to kick, but that boy would just he keeps messing around. He wants the ball for himself. No, he's not sharing the ball. So Candice was like, you know what? That's enough. When the ball got to her, she kicked that ball like very far so that that bully can no longer get that ball. Like, there you go. Now you can't have it. She kicked it so far up that he went over the fence to the road, and I'm like, okay, no one's gonna have the ball now. But the problem was when she did that, she turned around, but she was so close to the boy. Of course, the boy got mad, but she turned around, and that gave the boy opportunity to clothesline her, like sucker punch her. So I'm like, okay, this is it. I mean, this has escalated to a point where she needs training on how to channel that energy, how to deal with that kind of situation at that very young age.
Were you trying anything else before
Mhm.
martial arts? Was there anything that you were looking at or an alternative?
No, really, it's just really, I knew martial arts, training was a part of the answer, but the coaching, the parental coaching, me and my wife, Eleanor, it wasn't working. And we thought that, of course, the teachers also were involved. I mean, before this even happened, her trying to save someone from being bullied, she pushed that bully so hard that boy almost hit the desk, his head, and she got called into the principal's office. So, between, the principal, the school staff, and me and my wife, myself, it's just the coaching wasn't working. I thought, I'm like, yeah, really, martial arts was part of the answer, but we needed a school that will, give her that, practice, that real life situation, not just kata.
I think that's a lot of parents,
Mhm.
and it's nothing bad, I mean, kids, I have called it the proximity syndrome for like ever. Because, a lot of parents come in, they're like, I've tried talking to them and they just don't listen anymore. And it's not that they're not really listening. They are listening. It's just that they're not necessarily following direction. And that's where like a mentor or a coach
Yes.
coming in and that does align with your values and your beliefs really can help shape somebody like Candice and other students in that way. I think it's great that you and your wife had the courage to like say that to each other and go, look, we just got to find somebody else. And then you went and looked for it. So
Yeah, when it became physical, that was the wake up call when it became physical.
yeah, so that was like when you guys decide like, okay, that's it. Things are starting to escalate. That's when you guys kind of start to think like, we got to
Yes.
find someplace that can help channel her energy.
Yes, yes, because it's already in her. Everyone has potential. Everyone has something in them. It's just a matter of how we're going to unlock it, who's going to unlock it, and keep that, and maintain that, whatever it is that we unlock. She has it in her. The training in martial arts really opened up. It made us realize she was a born fighter. Maybe that's why she's getting to this situation, because she likes to. It's already in her. Like, it's just that why is it happening? Martial arts really open up a lot of like realization. Hey, we found out she was actually, her great grandfather was the Manny Pacquiao in the 60s, 70s.
That's awesome.
And when we were doing the regional fights, right? Oh, not regional, like, all these YDL, Youth Development League, a lot of the coaches that approach us, they're like, she has really good boxing. And I'm like, Master Jason and I and the gym, we weren't really focusing on boxing. I mean, we were doing everything, right? The ground, kickboxing, but there's something about the boxing that the other coaches were approaching us and complimenting her. So I did a lot of research, and I'm like, oh wow, so she was actually, her great grandfather was a boxer. So I'm like, okay, it's in her DNA. it was a matter of us collectively and being in that gym, in the training environment, safe environment, that we were able to unlock that and make use of it for the better, right? We told her, Candice, you already have this. You just got to channel it differently and in a better way. You can't just always use that in every situation.
Yeah, sometimes it can escalate in the wrong way. But yeah,
Yes.
that's good. I mean, I think it's great. I think it's awesome that she has that in her DNA and she's willing to use it and not be afraid of her warrior strength. A lot of times a lot of people are afraid of their warrior strength, and she has learned to harness it over the years. I mean, she spent, by the time I stopped, right, or we had to shut down in COVID, that was like what, about how
Five,
long? You
six
got
years ago.
5, 6 years you guys were with
Yeah.
me? Yeah. So she did a really good job, harness it. And then I know you guys kind of continued to train a little bit more after that. So a couple more years. So she put in some good training time. So
Yes.
that
Where
was
she is
good.
now in New York, they made sure they have an apartment that has a gym, a boxing gym on the basement. So she's still training.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Yeah.
Yes.
I think it's good. I love boxing. Boxing's like one of my biggest things. I mean, it was my thing even too. So yeah. What was like the first couple weeks and months when she was training? What was that like for her?
Just adjusting to the more, self-controlled environment, right? It's now, of course, sparring, right? Now she realized she's not in a situation where she can be as compulsive as she was in school, right? She was
Yeah.
that's how it was. She was compulsive. She was acting based on emotion and the here and now moment. But the first couple of weeks, first couple of months in the gym, in the martial arts school, that allowed her to take a pause and stop and think about, now you're in a situation you can't just punch and kick. And really, martial arts is more than just kicking and punching. It's a lot of mental, like 95% mental, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you
Yes.
do next? What do you do first? What is in front of you? How are you going to react? What is the best reaction for each situation? And so that allowed her that opportunity, that moment, that time to think first before you act.
Yeah. I remember sparring with her, and there were times that she definitely would let her emotions out, or you could tell when the emotion was like she got angry, and then she was acting on those emotions. And
Yes.
it's part of the learning journey, right?
Yes.
And that's why you go to a school, so you can learn safely, like, if I do this emotionally,
Hmm.
what is kind of the outcome? And then how did you handle the outcome, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That was good.
I mean, she's not perfect, right? She's still, it's like you said, it's a lifelong journey. She's always going to have that moment again where she'll probably, panic or spiral into doing something compulsively. But at least that training, it's a reminder for her here and there that, hey, you had this situation before. What did you do? Maybe do it
Hmm.
now, do it again this time. Don't overreact. You don't have to do, we go on vacation. It's funny how her and Eleanor, for some reason, always get into situation where we'll argue with someone. I'm like, hey, we're on vacation. We shouldn't be arguing with anyone. We should be, but it's always it's that emotional part of like it's just their personality, their attitude. But again, it's one of those things that are misread, misinterpreted by others. They think they're mean, that they're aggressive or bad, but they're not. It's just really they just don't like seeing things, like unfair, like things like bullies, and they just don't like that. But there's a better way to deal with those kind of people in those kind of situations. And martial arts is really a good reminder for Candice, hey, you've had this, you've been here, done this before. Let's rechannel that energy into positive.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I'm glad that it's been working for her. Was there any moment that you started to realize, like, during her like early training, was there like a moment when you were like, yeah, this is actually working?
Yes, yeah, it's that just watching her from the sidelines, like watching her train, her listening to you, to the coaches, that really that made me realize, yeah, I think we're in the right place now. Whereas before it's just us, the teachers, it wasn't working. It was working in some ways, but it's not registering to her. She needed that place, that safe place where she can actually think and react safely. So getting that coaching, the how to do things, how to react, getting it from you, the coach, and the other coaches, that really made a difference, a huge difference.
Did you see anything like in school? That was a different kind of response than what she normally would have done.
Yeah, I would say yes, because it's like compared to the karate school, right? It was just really like how to like movements, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what about that movement? There was no how or why after that. And whereas, in level 8, like martial arts school, like they teach that right away, how to punch, how to kick, how to react, the sparring part of it.
So then how long was it before you started seeing change in Candace? Like,
I saw the change pretty quickly because we ask her directly, like, how do you like it, right? First
mhm.
first of all, you have to get her feedback, and she actually enjoyed it. She enjoyed training right away. But she loved it, and just her reaction, like you can see in her face that she enjoys the training that she's getting from the school because of who she's training with and the drills that are being given to her that she needs to do, that she needs to follow. It's very safe, and there's no like she feels like she won't get into trouble like she was having trouble in high school. I mean in elementary and middle school.
Mhm.
She felt that, it was a safe place for her to react the way that she can react and how she needs to react better if it wasn't good in the first place.
Yeah, did she take it into high school? How did she use so she started at 10 and
Mhm.
that was like what, right around, was that 6th grade?
Fifth or sixth grade.
Fifth or sixth
Yeah.
grade. So how did she progress into high school with the training? Did it help her? What was kind of like the benefits or things that you saw that were helpful for her?
Yeah, she carried that into high school. So she did less of martial arts training because she wanted to do cheerleading, and she's always wanted that. And but I told her you gotta finish your training, get your black belt first, in martial arts, and then we'll talk about cheerleading. And but while she's working on the getting that black belt, we agreed to have her go into try cheerleading, and she did that the first couple of years in high school. She carried that training discipline into high school, not just cheerleading, but curriculum, the studies, making sure that she gets her grades, finishing her homework, balancing homework and sports. There was one time where she wasn't agreeing with what the coaches were teaching in cheerleading. And I told her, okay, now let's take what we learned from martial arts. You're not gonna argue, you're not gonna confront the coach. Approach her and talk to her nicely about what you think is not working. Just be responsible, be respectful, and next thing you'll know, you'll be heard, and then she might make the changes, and that's what happened. They appreciated her feedback. It's amazing how she carried that training discipline from martial arts into high school sports and curriculum studies.
And then she's used it in college, which is even better. That you can see how with the right kind of like building blocks that you give a student or that you give a individual, they can use them throughout their whole life. It's not
Correct.
something that
Yes.
can be like only used in like the four little like walls of the gym or whatever.
Yes.
You can use it in life. So what would you say then would be the biggest difference that I see with the before Candice and the now Candice? Like the Candice that's 21 in college, going to business fashion college, like this is like the absolute biggest change.
Her The biggest change will be her self composure, her self control, and mental strength, mental toughness.
So let's dig into that a little bit. What do you mean by mental toughness? Like what is that that you see is so different about her mental strength now?
Yeah, because mental strength, I mean, everything starts mentally, right? Before we act, a thought came into your mind before you even make that action, right? So when we say mental toughness, mental strength, not spiraling, not overreacting, not being compulsive. You gotta think first before you make that next move, before you make that next step. Think before you act. And then, being in college, there's so much, homework and schoolwork that you have to finish. Sometimes she'll text us, or call her mom and be like, this is really hard. I don't think I'm gonna be able to make it through, and she's thinking about taking a break. But, again, we have to remind her, hey, you had this before, you had this training, right? It's all about persistence. You gotta be persistent. You gotta continue to be determined. You cannot quit. Having that, never quit attitude, it's very important. And then now she's able to rechannel and regroup and say to herself, yeah, I have to continue. So that's what we've seen, a huge difference in her, that she's able to continue on and not quit,
Anchor
because
number 3,
college,
never give up,
yes,
right?
never give up. Yeah.
That's good. And I think a lot of times I've talked to quite a few parents about this and they've said confidence is like, some of the biggest changes that they've seen in their either their daughter or their son through the process of the training. But I think go
Yeah. When you mentioned confidence, that kind of clicked a light bulb in me. Like she was, growing up, we thought she was being overconfident, with her ability to step in and try to bully the bully or try to de-escalate the situation, right? But what we needed was keep that confidence, but at the same time have the self-control, have the, self-control, the composure, not have that ego or that pride that, hey, you can do better. Confidence, but control.
And I really love what you had to say about the mental toughness and then talking about how, it's been tough for her in college because life is tough, right? I
Yeah.
mean, you're going to get sometimes kicked down into the dirt, and then there's going to be somebody that might just kick some dirt in your eye when you're down there. And can you get up and talk your way through it again? And that's
Yes.
great that she's, talking herself through, continuing.
Yes.
She's still talking with you guys, which is fantastic. But
Yes.
she's also going, okay, I can do this, and you can. And I think that's beautiful. Was there something else that that you've seen that she's she's never done before, but now you're like, wow, she's doing that.
She's controlling her emotions a lot better, definitely. Pause. Hey, are you reacting? Do you even need to react in the first place in the situation? Maybe just let it go. Let it flow through and see what happens. Now she has that ability to do that. Whereas before, she'll just react right away. And then who knows what happens next when you react right away. But now really what we appreciate, what we've seen the big difference is really just her ability to take a pause and, and think and sometimes not even react. Let's see what happens, and then if it gets worse, then then you'll see how you can react the proper way, the better way, the best way possible. Not
That's
everything
fantastic.
needs a reaction.
Yeah, and that's good. I mean, and she's learning to let go of stuff, right?
Yes, let
Because
go.
otherwise, you're attaching yourself to everything, and everything is getting you stressed out,
Yes,
overwhelmed, and upset, right? And now
correct.
she's kind of learning how
Yes,
to I don't need to deal with that. That's not even worth my time.
yes, yes.
That's that's good. Was there any part of the process that she really had a hard time with, when she first started?
Mm,
Like some parents have said to me, like, yeah, the physicality where they have to do push-ups and jumping jacks and all that stuff was like really hard. And then there's others that was like, that was like the focus was
mhm.
really hard in the beginning.
It wasn't until later on, throughout the training, the years of training when she was really tested. If you recall that YDL, Youth Development League, where you put her against that silver medalist
Mm-hmm. Yes.
that she wasn't expecting. But I kind of knew myself that something like that was gonna happen. So that week before that fight, I was training her in the garage. I was giving her a lot of knees and clinch and knee. And she was like, "Why are you doing this, Dad? Why? We haven't even gotten to this part yet in the gym." And I'm like, you have to prepare for that. We've done it a few times in the gym, but yeah, we haven't been focusing on it. But you're not going up against. We don't know who you're going to be up against with this week. And there you have it. We have her fight against a silver medalist. So that later training that after a couple years that's when she was actually challenged, like reality check. Hey, you're now in a bigger fight. What are you gonna do? And if you recall, sir, that fight first round she got her behind kick, right?
Mm-hmm.
She got
Yeah.
she got beat up first round. Half of the second round, same thing. But the later half, the second half of that second round, she finally realized you told her, right? You reminded her, Candice, think, strategize. What's happening in front of you? Break it down. What are you gonna do about it? That second half of that later round, the second round, it finally clicked, right? She's like, okay, I just need to stop being nervous about this. I just need to stop thinking she's better than me just because she's a silver medalist. That affected her mentality when we told her, hey, when they announced, right, she's a silver medalist. That already affected her mentally. But you reminded her, sir, that hey, you're better than this. Break it down, strategize. What are you gonna do about it? And it clicked. Finally, she made some movement. She was able to counterattack. And then the going to third round, she was more confident. She was flowing more like water, not very
Mm-hmm.
stiff, and she was able to have it in my highlight in my video that she took her down. She was trying to clinch her again, but she found a way to counter that and push her. She went down. So it was amazing to see that how she was able to do that in a controlled fight, and how she's carried that into real life. I see that in her now in college, even in back in high school. That when you're getting beat up, with all these challenges, stress and anxiety and stress in life, you just got to stop and think. Take a pause, break it down. What's happening? What's going on, and strategize. Sometimes you have to re-strategize if the first strategy doesn't work. Right? Keep trying. Keep finding that balance. That best way to handle the situation and resolve the situation. If you can't resolve it now, try it again next time. Let it go. It's just It's just amazing how she transformed into that, a better person, not just a better fighter, but a better human being.
Yeah. And she's used that in a metaphorical way. She's used to learn how to fight in the real world, which the real world of fighting, everybody thinks it's going to be on
Yeah.
the street, but it's
Yes.
really not. It's between your own ears.
Yes.
Every day when you wake up, you're like telling yourself, just stay in bed,
Yes.
going through every excuse why to get up and go start doing whatever it is that you need to do, whether it's dealing with your family right away when you get up, or dealing with your kids, or,
Yes.
or going to work, or getting up to go work out, or, getting up to make yourself breakfast. It doesn't matter, right? That's the first fight that you have to fight.
Absolutely. I'm glad you mentioned that, because Chelsea, on the other hand, my youngest daughter, who also
Mhm.
trained with you in the same gym, it's a tale of two stories. Chelsea is the opposite. Like, we had to push her to do more, to be more go-getter, right? She's doing basketball currently, and we had to remind her, hey, you're a black belt. You've done this before. You just got to find that passion. And unfortunately, she's not as passionate now as she was before when she was little. And she's actually going to stop doing basketball after this season. But at least she has another outlet in basketball and martial arts. And I told both of them, you may be done training now. You're not training as much, but know that martial arts, basketball, all of these that you trained before, it's always going to be there. If you need outlet, if you need something like a hobby, or know that it's always there for you. It helps you with your mind, mental training and everything, physical and everything.
Yeah, it's true. You can do martial arts forever if you want. There's absolutely no reason why. And I've been doing it for 34 plus years now. So,
Yeah.
I'm kind of testament to that. And I don't foresee myself ever stopping. And every time I maybe have veered off the path a little bit, martial arts has always got me back on, be back every time. So, okay. So this is going to be kind of like a little fun exercise. Here we go. Is your household like an early bird mornings or a night owl household?
Night owl.
Night owls. Okay. Strict routine or go with the flow type of a family?
Strict routine.
Okay. Are you guys snack packers or we'll figure it out on the way?
Snack packers.
All right. Are you guys more of encouraging pep talk or calm and direct coaching voice?
Calm, direct coaching voice.
Okay. Do you guys do a more family game nights or family movie nights?
Family movie nights.
All right. Texting the teacher or they'll learn from it?
Texting the teacher.
Okay. It's okay. It's all right. Comfort zone protector or try it anyway parent?
Comfort zone protector.
Okay. Celebrating big wins or celebrating small reps? Or is it both?
Celebrating small reps.
Small reps. Okay. Fantastic. What are you the most proud of that Candice has accomplished?
I'm proud of where Candice is now, being a college student. She had her goal, her mindset to doing something, but it changed because she wanted to do something else. So she went to a University of Hawaii first because of the environment, calm. You're in an island, right? Paradise Island. Things are very slow. But she really wanted to do fashion, business, and marketing. But there wasn't that much opportunity in Hawaii for that. So she decided to move to New York. And this is a private, college school where it's actually focusing on fashion, business, and marketing. Imagine, being in Hawaii, slow, calm, relaxing, in type of environment, to a very fast paced, high stress environment like New York City.
Yeah.
So there was a talk, about that. Hey, are you ready for this? Are you sure you want this? And she really, what we're proud of is that she has that ability to know what she wants and get what she wants, and she knows how to get there. And she strategizes, she plans things out ahead of time, and for the most part, whatever she plans out, it happens. But if it doesn't happen, she has the ability to reset, repause and reset, regroup, and try again to make it work, to make it better.
Any new goals that she has that you're really happy or excited about that she's shooting after?
There's a goal that I'm very happy, but at the same time, I kind of uh, maybe think about it more before you decide that that's going to be your goal, because she's only 21 years old and her boyfriend is 25, 4 years older. They live together, and of course, it's one of those things that parents, they try to balance, study first before you live in with your boyfriend. But aside from that, she has a goal of traveling the world, traveling to places. And I told her that me personally, I took a different path, different route.
Mhm.
I got the training first, for the work that I wanted to do. I didn't have the college degree, right? But I spent a lot of my time in my 20s, getting that stable job, and before starting a family, before traveling. So she's taking it in a different path where she wants to travel now, kind of like the opposite, right? So of course, as a parent, that has me like, is that really the right? Again, I'm doing my own martial arts training and discipline. Like, okay, I gotta let her do the things that she wants to do. So I'm proud of her for having that goal, and she's sticking to that goal. That she saves money so she can travel because that's her one of her outlets to get away from the stress, especially being in New York City.
Hmm.
High paced, fast paced environment. That's her way of channeling that energy, that out, finding that outlet. So as long as she's good with finance, she knows how to save money for that. At the same time, she still has enough, she doesn't put herself in a lot of debt. It's a lot of, self-control in her financial status and balancing that with her studies, her goal in her studies, finish that, get that degree and get that stable job. As long as she does that, she continues to do that, she keeps up with it, I think she'll go a long way and and she's on the right path to get there.
Well, I want to thank you for doing this with me. I appreciate it. This really can help out other families and other people, whether it's necessarily coming to my school or finding anything else. I think
Yeah.
it's great that they hear from other parents about like how martial arts and the martial arts journey has helped your child, which could possibly help their child. And this is you talking about Candice when she's 21 now, and she started when she was 10,
Right.
right? And so I think that's great. So thank you so much for doing this.
Well, thanks for having me, sir.